Y'all, you probably think the Toronto Blue Jays are done crying over that World Series heartbreak, but hold up, bombshell just dropped today. John Schneider's getting the boot and Bruce Bochy is coming to the 6IX. We're talking about a three-time World Series champion potentially taking over our beloved Blue Jays after that devastating Game 7 collapse. This ain't just Blue Jays news today. This is franchise-changing, championship-caliber madness that has the entire AL East shaking. As your ride-or-die Jays fan who's been bleeding blue and white since the Carter days, I'm breaking down why this move could be the spark that finally gets us back to October glory. If you believe the Blue Jays can rise from the ashes and make history again, stay tuned, hit that like button, and subscribe to be part of the comeback that'll have all of Canada talking. Let's be real here, Jays Nation. We just lived through the most gut-wrenching World Series loss in franchise history. Game 7 at Rogers Center, our house packed with 49,000 screaming fans, and we choked it away to the Dodgers. But here's what nobody's talking about. This catastrophic collapse might be exactly what our front office needed to finally wake up and make the moves we've been begging for since those glory days with Joe Carter and different Ross Stet. Roberto Alomar. The numbers don't lie, folks. John Schneider managed this team to a 94-win season and somehow got us to Game 7 of the World Series, but his in-game decisions have been questionable all year long. Remember that Jeff Hoffman disaster in the 9th inning? The guy's been shaky in high-leverage spots all postseason, and Schneider kept rolling him out there like he was vintage Dennis Eckersley. Our bullpen ERA in October was a brutal 4.89. And half of that damage came from Schneider's stubborn loyalty to guys who clearly didn't have it when it mattered most. But wait, there's a twist coming that changes everything about our 2026 outlook. Sources inside the organization are buzzing about Bruce Bochy being the dream replacement. This ain't some rookie manager learning on the job. We're talking about a Hall of Fame tactician who's won 4 World Series rings and knows exactly how to handle the pressure of October baseball. The man took the Texas Rangers from mediocrity to champions, and before that, he guided those Giants teams through 3 championships in 5 years. Imagine that kind of veteran leadership steering Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, and this talented core through the playoffs. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Executive sources are saying Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro have already started internal discussions about making this move happen. One anonymous front office insider told SportsCenter Canada that Bochy represents everything Toronto needs right now: tactical brilliance, bullpen mastery, and the respect of veteran players who've been there and done that. Now, here's the kicker about this whole situation. The fan reaction has been absolutely explosive on social media. We're seeing hashtags like #Bochy to Toronto and #Fire Schneider trending across Canada, with season ticket holders threatening to cancel unless management makes dramatic changes. The pressure from Jays Nation is real, and ownership knows they can't afford to waste this championship window with Guerrero Jr. and Bichette entering their prime years. Before we dive deeper into what this means tactically, smash that like if you bleed blue and white and want to see championship baseball back in Toronto. Drop a comment with your boldest prediction for this managerial change. Do you think Bochy actually leaves Texas for the 6IX? Let's break down why Bruce Bochy would be the perfect fit for this roster. First off, our lineup is already stacked with Vlad Jr. Leading the charge, Bo Bichette providing that spark at the top, and George Springer still delivering clutch hits when healthy. But what we've been missing is a manager who knows how to maximize this talent in October situations. Bochy's track record with veteran stars is legendary. Just look at how he handled Barry Bonds during those Giants runs, or how he got the absolute best out of Corey Seager and Nathaniel Lowe with the Rangers last season. From a pitching perspective, this move makes even more sense. Our rotation featuring Kevin Gausman, Jose Berrios, and Chris Bassett has the talent to compete with anybody, but Schneider's bullpen management has been our Achilles heel all year. Bochy's reputation for handling relief pitchers is unmatched in modern baseball. The guy turned random middle relievers into World Series heroes multiple times. Imagine what he could do with Jordan Romano when he's healthy, or how he might develop some of our young arms coming up from Buffalo. But here's where the real drama unfolds. Ken Rosenthal is reporting that Bochy still has time left on his Texas contract, which means Toronto would need to either wait for permission to interview him or potentially offer compensation to pry him away. The Rangers just won their first championship ever with Bochy at the helm, so they're not going to let him walk easy. This could turn into a bidding war that tests just how serious Rogers Communications is about bringing another championship to Canada. The timeline for all this chaos is absolutely wild too. Word is that Schneider's dismissal could be announced before the end of this week, which would give Toronto a head start on the managerial carousel compared to other teams looking for changes. The Mets, Angels, and potentially the Marlins are all going to be in the market for experienced managers, so striking fast on Bochy could be the difference between landing a championship-caliber skipper or settling for another developmental hire. Now here's what really has me fired up about this potential move. Remember those back-to-back World Series championships in '92 and '93? The common thread wasn't just talent, it was having a manager in Cito Gaston who commanded respect and knew how to push the right buttons in crucial moments. That's exactly what Bruce Bochy brings to the table. The man's been to the mountaintop 4 times, and he knows the difference between managing in April and managing in October. Think about what this means for our young guys, too. Alejandro Kirk behind the plate, Spencer Horwitz developing into a solid contributor, and prospects like Ricky Tiedemann coming up through the system. These players need to learn winning habits from someone who's actually won at the highest level, not just someone who talks about winning, but chokes when it matters most. The financial implications are huge as well. Rogers has shown they're willing to spend big when they believe in the direction of the franchise. Signing Guerrero Jr. to that massive extension was just the beginning. Bringing in a manager of Bochy's caliber signals to free agents that Toronto is serious about competing for championships, not just making the playoffs and hoping for the best. But wait, there's one more bombshell that could change everything. Insider sources are whispering that Bochy has always been intrigued by the idea of managing in Toronto because of the passionate fan base and the challenge of bringing championship baseball back to Canada. The man loves big stages and historic franchises, and there's nothing bigger in Canadian sports than Blue Jays playoff baseball at Rogers Centre with 49,000 fans going absolutely mental. Here's the reality check though, Jays Nation. Even if we land Bruce Bochy, this roster still has some holes that need addressing this offseason. Our bullpen depth beyond Romano is questionable. We need more consistent production from the bottom of the lineup. And our defense has been shaky at key positions. A new manager can maximize what we have, but Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins still need to make some strategic additions if we want to get back to the World Series in 2026. The emotional side of this potential change hits different too. John Schneider isn't a bad person. He's a local guy who came up through the organization and genuinely cares about this team. But championship windows are rare in baseball, and sometimes you need to make tough decisions to maximize your chances. The 2015 squad with Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista proves that when everything aligns, this city goes absolutely bonkers for playoff baseball. We can't afford to waste another opportunity like that. So here's my final take on this whole situation. If Bruce Bochy actually becomes available and Toronto can make this happen, it's a no-brainer move that instantly makes us legitimate World Series contenders in 2026. The combination of his tactical genius, our talented core, and the motivation from this devastating World Series loss could be the perfect storm for something special. Blue Jays Nation, I want to hear from you in the comments below. Do you think Bruce Bochy is the missing piece that finally brings championship baseball back to Toronto? Are you ready to move on from John Schneider after that Game 7 heartbreak? And most importantly, what's your prediction for how this managerial search plays out over the next few weeks? Drop your thoughts, smash that subscribe button if you want more Insider Blue Jays coverage, and let's ride this emotional roller coaster together as we chase that elusive third championship. This is your boy keeping you locked in on all the latest Blue Jays madness. We'll see you in the next one.